So I want to speak a little bit about faith. What is faith? You know, and in the Bible we are going to read about faith and about having faith. And this is chapter 11. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith, Abel brought God a better suffering than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous when God spoke well of his offering. And by faith, Abel still speaks, even though he is dead. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was consumed. He was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. By faith, Noah was warned about things not yet seen in holy fear, built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he commended the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land like a stranger in a foreign city. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him of the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundation, whose architect builder is God. And by faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was unable to bear children because she considered him faithful, who had made the promise. And so from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as countless as the sand on the seashore. All these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. People who say such things show that they are looking for a country of their own. If they had been thinking of the city they had left, they would have had an opportunity to return. Instead, they were longing for a better country, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. He who embraced the promises was about to sacrifice his one and only son, even though God said to him, "It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned." Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead, and so, in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each other of Jacob's sons and worshipped as he leaned on top of his staff. By faith, Jacob, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born because they saw he was no ordinary child and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refuses to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. By faith, he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered because he saw him who was invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and the application of blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. By faith the people passed through the Red Sea as on dry land, but when the Egyptians tried to do so, they were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell after the army had marched around them for 7 days. By faith the pastor Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. And what more shall I say? I do not have time to tell about Gideon, Barak, Samson, and Jephthah, about David and Samuel and the prophets who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised, who shut the mouths of lions, quenched the fury of the flames, and escaped the edge of the sword, whose weakness was turned to strength, and who became powerful in battle and routed foreign armies. Women received back their dead, raised to life again. There were others who were tortured, refusing to be released so that they might gain an even better resurrection. Some faced jeers and flogging, and even chains and imprisonment. They were put to death by stoning. They were sawed in two. They were killed by the sword. They went about in sheepskin and goatskin, destitute, persecuted, and mistreated. The word was not worthy of them. They wandered in deserts and mountains, living in caves and in holes in the ground. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised, since God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect. And that is chapter 11, Hebrews, verse 1 through 39. And I just want to talk about that a little bit, because it's just like fear, 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 fear. A lot of people, they project fear onto other people to get what they want, you know? And you don't know what anyone is going through in their life. This could be, you know, a time where a person's faith has to be on an all-time high. But how can this person do this when another person or other people is projecting fear onto people? You know, projecting fear so that they can get what they want. You know? Religion, faith, spirituality is nothing to play with. It's nothing to play with, you know? And that's all I want to say. Have faith and continue in your faith no matter what people project onto you. You know what's right. You know what you need to do. You know what you have to do. You are living your life and no one is living it for you. So if you are at a time when you need to have that all-time faith, you need to forget what other people is trying to project onto you, trying to make you feel. Forget other people and leave them behind. Leave them behind, because if you keep them around, they will keep trying and trying to pull you down. It's time to have faith. It's time to stand for what you believe. Because if you don't stand for what you believe, other people will come around and keep tempting you and breaking you down and taking away and taking from you what's yours. You know? Don't allow people to scare you into doing what they want you to do. Not for you, but for them. People is only greedy. They're out for takes and grabs. You know, people are hungry. They're coming into your homes and they're eating and devouring your plates, especially the ones of single mothers who don't have that alpha, you know, around them to protect them. They're like little hyenas, you know, scavengers running around taking everything that they can get their hands on because they're not being fed where they are. So they go in and they come into other people's house and take and take and take. You can be a good person, a real good person, and all of these people is just coming in and taking what's yours, taking everything that you've built just because you are a good person. People are using your faith, and they're using it to take. They're using it as a weakness to come into your home and take from you everything that you've accumulated for you and your children. Watch out for takers. They're not here to help you. They're here to take from you. You know? You give so much. You pour out so much. But it's for your children. It's for your loved ones. People are deceiving. People are very deceiving nowadays. They are very deceiving to the point where they will attack your faith. They will attack your religion. They will attack your church to get what they want because they're that bold. They have become very bold. They don't care what's being taken from them as long as they get what they want. You can be a true believer, you know, doing the work of the Lord. And all they want to do is scare you to the bones. Take off, you know, take all of your meat. Take everything from you to get what they want. Stand in faith and don't allow fear to tear down your home. You say no, not this time. No. So that is just a little word of the night. And y'all have a good night. Keep y'all heads up. And don't allow people to project this fear onto you. They're afraid. You're not afraid. Just because they're afraid, they want you to feel like you're afraid. They want to implement fear into you. They want to implement fear into you so that you can be fearful. Because they are fearful. You're not the one afraid. They are. You have faith. You believe, but they don't. And they are deceived. And because they are deceived, they're acting out on you and projecting it all on you to make it look like you are the one with lesser faith when in fact you know that you are not. Stay woke, because when you are asleep, you miss your call. Good night.